YouTube making the connection. Zoom is allowing third parties through an API and application program interface to connect directly to Zoom. And I'm waiting for it to connect, and it's perfect. Okay. So welcome everybody. We are going to this evening talk about our project, make sure that everybody is on board, and also have everyone share on Monday part 2 of your projects. You should have been each group, right, Anastasia? Each group should be approved with their project. Is that correct, Anastasia?
Yes, every group is approved.
Okay, and let me just share my screen, and then later I'll have you share with you to make sure that everybody realizes what to do. So I'm going to share my screen. And I will go to my, and what do you see, Victoria, on your screen?
That you're live streaming to YouTube.
Perfect, that I'm live streaming to YouTube. And Victoria, and in this sense, I am your name is on top of your face, so maybe you want to just sit up a little bit, or maybe that's also a couple of it's probably a minute in behind, but we got that going. Okay, so we have this is a possibility, and now I want to go to my what's due, make sure that I have my what's due session, and let me make sure in here that I have my edit mode off so you see the same thing I do. So last week Monday, it was due on this past Monday. We had our team topic selections. I've approved, I believe, every group. If you have any issues about your groups, Anastasia, your fantastic TA will help guide you through that. I asked about cloud computing, and we had additional readings, one from AWS, Amazon Web Services, and the other one of Microsoft Azure. So we have both of those. And for next Monday, what I have you do is, once you now have your topic selected, now I want you to use your final project. Part 2 is one person in your group needs to use the code to get a free upgraded version of Wix for the business plan. So if I go to Wix, right, and I go to their pricing, getting started, and I go to their pricing, we are using their business plan that's originally $39 a month. Now, they've put sales on a couple of their plans. We're only going to be using their business plan. And since there's a 50% coupon, you're going to need to remove that 50% code and overwrite and put in the code that we selected, that we have Wix has given for you. And in this case, if I go to the audit assignment instructions, you see there's two parts. One part is, let me just go back 1 second. One part is you need to copy to your clipboard this 100% discount, and notice it's 100%, not 50%. And this code will allow you to upgrade and claim a domain for a year. So make sure that you select 1 year and make sure before you submit, after you put in your credit card, that it says 0. It should only say 0. If it says any other amount, get out of that immediately. I want you to just do 0. And in this part, you also, if I look at this part, then it allows you to upgrade. And in this case, you want to go to Wix, get started, you want to log in, and you want to create the site. You want to upgrade to the business plan. You want to make sure it's yearly, and only one member in your group should sign up. And using this code, and make sure to take out the current sales coupon before placing your code in. Then this is the key here. You want to invite collaborators, meaning that once it's upgraded, you want to invite others to your group via email and make them website managers. And from then, once the site is created, everyone gets an email that they're invited. Then you want to create the first, what I call the first draft of your website, where you'll be stating your mission statement, what services did you do. You need to show your team page, a professional picture of each member that you have, an AI generated logo for your group. You want to add a contact section, and then you want to make sure you publish your site. At this time, I don't want you to put in your domain name. Use the original domain name that they give you with the Wix in it, and make sure you publish your site and put it in your folder of your group. You'll also talk about social media accounts. You can assign already someone in your group to take care of the social media. You need to pick a number of social media. How you divide it up is up to you and your group. You need to keep on populating it. You want to be able to also use AI tools to create your posts, to help you keep track of your posts. And then you want to continually start learning about apps for your section. And here is the group. So I'm going to stop sharing. You, Anastasia, you want to share on yours, just making sure you show people how to invite others, because in my other class, people were having a problem finding Web Manager.
Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, beautiful. So this is just the Wix homepage. So as you can see, like I'm in the home tab. This is the kind of project page. To get here, you're gonna go top left here next to the Wix icon and click on your project. It loads the dashboard, and then right next to this edit site button, the three dots, and then invite collaborators, and then select website manager, and then you're going to enter the email of the students that you want to collaborate with that are in your group. And then this button, send invite, is going to turn purple, I think, and then you send the invite. And then every member of the group is going to receive an email. They have to accept the link within, I think, 30 days, which everyone should be accepting it that same day. I know last year we had a problem with one of my members. I think he took a few days to accept it and then it expired. If that happens, just repeat this step with the same email that hasn't accepted it. If anyone has any issues with it, email or text me, I'll help you. But please make sure to select this website manager option under
That'll
select.
be great. Somehow we got into it and we got like CMS roles, but under general roles, somehow it didn't.
Wasn't there.
It
Yeah,
wasn't there.
I'm not sure. Maybe it was a bug for the
Or
moment.
maybe it was a bug, or maybe they got
Yeah.
in through a different way. So you want to just go over it one more time how to get, so you basically go
Yeah,
into Wix
just to
and
make
then you can
sure.
just
Sure. So you go to project dashboard and then on these three dots, invite collaborators,
perfect.
and then under general roles, website manager,
Okay.
and
So
then
what,
enter the emails.
okay. So what I'd like to do, even as I'm talking, I'd like to make sure that each person in the group, you remember we talked about it, Michael? Each person, if you've signed up already with that 0, that you go in and then you're already doing that invite site collaborators. You can start even with doing just a general one of having their own AI. I think they call it Harmony or something like that, that they can create it. And then you would then make sure that you invite tonight. I want to do two things. I want to make sure that each group has someone that has already entered their information and had 0 amount due. And then I want each group to have invited all their collaborators, invite site collaborators. And it would really be good that check your email right now, and at the end of the session, Anastasia, that everybody accept. They can do that in the background, right? Check their email and make sure that everyone accepts. And then if you stop sharing, and then let me share. So we see what we have to do here. Make sure in the WIP, this is the Wix coupon code. You can see upgrade. Make sure that you choose the business plan, right? And make sure that you choose only 1 year, because this code for 0 will be good for just that 1 year that you can complete it. And make sure right here and entering the promo code, if it has that 50% off, that you delete that 50% off, you eliminate, you remove it, and then put in the code. So this amount, that total, should be sent to 0. That amount for the business plan. Okay, so that is done. And then in your audit section, I go to assignment groups. Right here, they have already their domain name that they selected. I want you to hold off on your domain name selection right now and just use the standard with Wix in the URL right now, because I want us to think about a really good domain name, because once you sign up, they don't allow you to pick several domain names. You only can have one domain name. So what I'd like you to do is the person that has signed up. So for instance, in group 3, Raphael, were you the one that signed up, or was there someone else in your group?
No, it was Kavya.
Okay, so is Kavya here?
Yes, I'm here.
So Kavya, did you sign up? Did you invite everyone or not
Yes, I
yet?
invited everyone.
Perfect, Kavya. So can you be so kind, Kavya? Go ahead and edit your group 3, and right after your number here, if you could just in all caps write owner.
Okay.
OWNER. So this way, when we look at it, we know who is responsible to go. So if we ever have any problems with Wix, if we're having any issues here, we know who the owner of the site is. So
Okay, sounds
each
good.
group, perfect. You understand, Kavya? I appreciate your efforts there. And it's a team effort. We don't want to have a group that one person does all the work and everybody else is sitting on the sidelines. This is what's so great about this class, is we have each other's back. So this is the idea. So everybody, if you've already signed in, and if you haven't, make sure you text your group and make sure you have one person that signs up with this. We can do it now and sign up and make the invites. And all those people, Kavya, when did you send the invites?
I sent them last night.
Okay, so make sure that everybody has responded in your groups. And if there anybody that hasn't gotten it, maybe they can check their, spam or whatever, that everybody can respond in your group, that we can
Okay.
get started.
Sounds good.
And then next Monday, what I'd like is even your temporary URL, that has Wix in almost the subdomain where it has your, let's say, marketing or whatever, but it has Wix in the title, paste it here and make sure that you publish it. So for your first draft, you will publish it. So next week, just like we did before for these types of groups, right, that we did brand consulting or whatever, we can click on it and see what everyone has done. That's what we'll have on Monday. Each group, just like we had for the group proposals, each group will be presenting and getting feedback, and we can learn from each other how we can improve, what we like, what needs to be improved. Sometimes what AI writes, of course, first draft is never good enough. How we can do it. Everybody should have the team page, right, with the pictures and the descriptions, just like this is much more than what we had before, but in terms here, right, that you should have your logo. You're not going to have your phone number yet, but you'll have your mission. You'll have what your job is. You'll have your team, right, of everybody will be able to put in their team, what they do as the CEO. You can put in here if you'd like that you're also have a finance, you're pursuing a finance degree. You can even put at the University of Miami, but I don't want it to be the first, of course, because I want this to be, hey, your consulting firm is first, and it's nice to have people, for instance, if our CFO has accounting, finance, and our marketing has marketing, you can put in your degrees too, or your majors, but that isn't the thing. Okay. So this makes sure that everything is done. And by the end of the class, I'm going to be checking then to make sure that when we go to the audit area, we make sure that audit section has owner there. Okay. Anything else, Anastasia, that you want me to cover with this?
No, I think you covered everything.
Okay, perfect. So let me just make sure I have that. So if I go to my courses and I look at my courses, and I want to make sure that I have J audit under my assignment groups, right? Perfect. And you made it in bold too. So every group now should do that, right? And then group 6 already, Ella has done it. And then by the end of the night, before we take attendance, I want to make sure that 2 things. One is that one person signs up, make sure you put in the code, it says 0, and then do the invite. So then you can proceed. Because I don't want to be in a situation that on Sunday night, our person couldn't get in. They didn't accept the credit card. They didn't, and of course, you will, and make sure that you're not going to be billed on it. And later on, before we finish the semester, we're going to make sure that everybody puts in checks off that they do not want to be rebuild, right? That it doesn't want to be continuation, because that's what companies like to do, is that you forget about all your subscriptions. You have it free for a year and then you forget about it. And then it becomes a hassle when I have, again, I'm not in control of Wix, so we have to go through our representative just to make sure that that is done. So we got that done, what is due. So I know that what I needed to do before, everybody has their topic selection, everybody has their cloud computing done, and their readings of Microsoft. Then for Monday, is artificial intelligence. And with artificial intelligence, there's so much there. We're going to be spending between now and the end of the semester talking every time, Victoria, right, about artificial intelligence, what's new every couple of months. Something is new, and I want to emphasize when we talked about the cloud computing, what that means, and also what does it mean on premise? What does it mean local? We need to distinguish that. What is generative AI? What is agentic AI? What do we now talk about? Okay. And there's something now called OpenClaw. Sally, have you heard about this?
Yeah, I have it.
You have it? Are you using
Yeah.
it?
Yep.
What do you use it for?
I use it to manage my schedule, streamline stuff, generate reports on social
Okay,
stuff,
and are you
also
using it? And
compile quotes
you're using it as a cloud or locally on your computer?
locally. It doesn't have a good security, so I
Right,
don't trust it with
right,
my information.
right. And that's the beauty of it. So open cloud, when I even think about this idea of open claw is on that personal AI that actually does things. The difference between then, Sally, what's the difference then between generative AI and what we call an agent or agentic AI?
The generative, you have to prompt it, and the agent can just go out and do it on its own.
Right. So when we think about generative AI, its prompting is a conversation one to one. I ask it a question, and it comes back with an answer. I respond. I can use it by text. I can use it conversationally. Now, when we talk about agentic AI, or when we talk about agents, it actually does a task for us, and it will proceed. The idea of open claw, what's unique and what's that having done so well with, is the idea that you can then do it locally rather than being through the cloud, rather than being internet. And what's the advantage here is when I'm in locally, I'm not going to be susceptible to anything that's coming. So what would be interesting, I'd like you to do, Sully, for your project is to add OpenClaw to your project, and then you can show people for your customers how to use OpenClaw. What do you think?
Sounds good. How would you like us to use it?
That you'll discuss it among your group, and you can be the leader in your part. You can take that over in terms of videos and show, if you're going to be doing any marketing or whatever, is think about an example of what your end users or who your clientele would use for OpenClaw. And then you can even do, it'd be nice to show the demonstration you have, you can even demonstrate it for the class as well. So maybe think about it now, and then maybe what do you think, in a week's time, you can think about doing something, a small agent of an OpenClaw, and you can even show people, maybe you could make it even in a series, what you need to set it up, and then how would you program it to do a small task. I think that would be great. What do you think about that, Sully?
Sounds good.
And people are not familiar with it since it's so new out in the market. And Anastasia, have you ever heard about this?
I've heard of it, but not in detail that you just
Right.
explained.
So that's perfect. So it's something else that you can look up as well. And then we can think about it later on, as even Sully, would be great in terms of the open cloud that we can, that the class can even think about, that they can incorporate in even into their project. So maybe not next Monday, but the following Monday, you could even give a presentation, Sally, about how other students in their groups could use OpenClaw. And you could share your you could even post your short videos on almost like a step-by-step how to use OpenClaw, where you have step-by-step in one by one, like a PDF format, and also like a video step-by-step of how you could use it. Okay? That'll be great in terms of that. Fantastic. So we have in terms here that we talk about it is we have it. So if I looked at it, Victoria, we talked about, maybe we can talk about the difference, Victoria, with cloud computing, make sure that we got that done, and what is new with where AI fits in. So, Victoria, what do you think? How would you describe in your own words what's cloud computing?
I would say it's like downloading it to the computer.
Okay, first of all, do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's make sure that we also do this too. So if I go to one of the things that you may want to make sure here, if I go to Wiley and we're able to talk about it, right? That if I talk about the basics of cloud computing, and I think about it, we've talked about it time and time again. The difference, Victoria, I want you to make sure that you understand the difference is what is cloud versus the idea of cloud computing. Victoria, everything that almost all the software we've used up to now, Victoria, has been the cloud. Okay? So if I think about it, Victoria, if I think about this, do you see this right here? What do you see on my screen, Victoria?
It's an article on cloud computing.
It's from Wiley the Adaptive. And when we define cloud computing, it basically, if I just take the word cloud, another word for it is the internet. Or another word in cloud is when I have to go through a browser. Right? When you open up Chrome, you're going to the cloud, and let's think about all the cloud software that we've done up to now. When you go into Blackboard, is that cloud, Victoria? How did you need the internet to get into Blackboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a cloud application. When you join the meeting, right, in Zoom, is that a cloud application, Victoria?
Yeah.
Yeah, now you got it. When you opened up your email, is that a cloud application?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you open up Instagram, when you open up TikTok, are those cloud applications?
Yeah.
Remember, a lot of times you hear apps. Those apps are cloud ways. So basically, the cloud, everybody knows the cloud, right? Victoria, is that all the software that you use where you need an internet access is the cloud. Cloud computing is for enterprises, not only just to use software, but actually their whole infrastructure, all their hardware can be used by vendors that provide services to companies. That's called cloud computing. We as individuals all use cloud, and companies can get access from a number of vendors, for instance, Amazon or Microsoft or Google, right, to use cloud computing. And it's a type of the computing that delivers it on demand. What does it mean on demand, Victoria? If me and you end up going into business together and you say, Dr. Rush, I want you on my team of my consulting business, we want to use services and hardware possibly that are on demand. What does on demand mean? That we can use it whenever we want. And think about it, something like, do you ever watch any movies streaming, Victoria?
Like what do you mean by that?
Like, have you ever used Netflix or anything, or Amazon Prime, right? All of that is on demand. If you want to go to a movie, right, the movie, you have to go physically to the movie theater, and the only time you can see that movie is when it's being held on, when it's been shown at the movie theater, right, Victoria? That's the only time you can see it, right? They have a 10 o'clock, a 6 o'clock show, at 8 o'clock show, and a 10 o'clock show. But it's not on demand that you can watch that movie at the movie theater at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's on demand whenever you want it, and it's pay as you go. As we go and use those services, it's going to be the way. And how the cloud computing does it, it provides these services for multiple customers to a shared pool of configurable computing resources. So what does that mean? That they get a number of companies, enterprises, that get their services so they can be cheaper because they're pooling it all together. And it can be rapidly and easily accessed over the internet. And when we don't, for instance, we go into business, we start off, Victoria, with 0 customers, and all of a sudden, what did you guys choose? What project?
We're a consulting company for a local restaurant, or for local restaurants.
Okay, so you're in the local restaurant businesses?
Yeah.
In the beginning, we have 0 restaurants signing on, then we have 100, then we have, let's say, 1,000. Finally, we get 10,000 custom clients. We can scale up and ask for more resources. We can ask for more servers. We can ask for more storage. We can have them give us more RAM. They can give us more storage. And guess what? Later on, you say, Dr. Rush, I only want to spend half part-time on this business. So I only want to take our top 500 customers and just deal with them. I don't have time for the 10,000 clients. So what we can do is can we still use cloud computing, Victoria? We can, but what are we going to do? We're going to scale down. Will we pay less, Victoria?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll pay less because we're using less services. So this is the idea of what is cloud computing. So if I think about this, let me just make sure I go here. I'm going to go to the other one. So when I think about that cloud computing, what I want to think about is what they call IT infrastructure. IT infrastructure, Quavia, is what? It stands for what? What does IT stand for, Quavia?
I think it's information technology.
Perfect, Quavia. So it's information technology. And when I think about what are the components of information technology infrastructure, it's composed of hardware that we talked about, right? Software, all my applications, my operating systems, networks. What's a network? When you get onto the university campus, right, you get onto their network to get you, and you're using what? Their Wi-Fi services. That's their network. The databases, when I think about a university, what database they have my student database, they have my undergraduate, my graduate, my business school database, my department database. They have the health center database, they have the housing databases, they have literally hundreds of databases that they take care of. And then they have what they call IT services, those that are developing additional information systems that are going to take care of Cane-Link, right? That's going to take care of Workday, that's going to be following Blackboard, that's going to be following Canvas. We're going to have a security that's going to have to manage the security. And we said with security, we can never be 100% secure. So it's going to have to analyze our risk, manage our data. You remember all of this? All of these components, Quavia, we can think about as outsourcing to cloud computing. You see that, Raphael? All of these services, the idea, we all use cloud services, we all use cloud software. What would be interesting is this hardware, software, networks, and database, we can use that. And then what we can do is the evolution of the infrastructure is it were mainframes, there were big computers before, and then there were computers like we had in the lab when we took our tests, and there were local area networks. You see the word local, Raphael? The word local here. Local means that I have access to, that I can see. Local means it's in that room, or local means it's on my computer. Versus enterprise computing is that vendors were saying, we are going to give services to the enterprise. What was the idea? Microsoft, Google, Amazon said, guess what? We want to give services to enterprises. What's an example of an enterprise? We know, Raphael, is what? University, right? The university is an enterprise, right? And it can then sell them their Blackboard. It can sell them Zoom, right? Zoom sells to the enterprise. Zoom is really where they can make their money, not so much in giving a free version of Zoom to me and you, but what? To sell it where they have thousands of users, and the university may be paying millions in order to use Zoom. But it's worthwhile for them because they're getting a service. And the more users they have, they can cut down in their costs. And then cloud computing came about where it says, not only are we going to sell you software, but we're going to sell you software via what? Via the cloud, and you can use our services there. So that is the characteristics of the cloud computing. You know, then is what? On demand. And Raphael, on demand, it means what?
Like
you can get it anytime, right? I want to get on demand when we need more. Raphael, me and you are in our group, right? And me and you, what are we going to do? We are going to demand, right? More RAM. That 64 KB is not enough for me. We need to have 128. And instead of buying it, Raphael, what am I going to say I'm going to do? Raphael, I'm going to do what? We'll just tell Amazon, give us more memory. Give us more RAM. And then you say, you know what, Dr. Rush, we need some more hard drive because we're having so much data to store. We need bigger hard drives. And then it may be, you know, fault tolerance. Fault tolerance means if we're having any glitches, we want to have a backup procedure. We want to have our data stored in a backup. Every time we make an addition, we want it stored somewhere else. So we want to be able to scale up. And in this case, Quavia, what does it mean, scale up?
Maybe like grow in a way.
Grow, exactly. All of a sudden, from 1,000, we got now this month, we got 1,500 clients, right? So if 1,500 clients, guess what? We're going to need more hardware. Maybe we're going to need more RAM. We're going to need to, so I can scale up. And guess what, Quavia? You say, you know what, Dr. Rush, this is too much for me. I'm going to be 50%. Let's just concentrate on the best 500 clients we have. So what can we do? We can scale down and we can reduce our IT infrastructure. And we can do it on demand and we can do it easily. If we bought those, right, Quavia? If we physically bought more machines, we couldn't just say, we couldn't say to Best Buy, here, take all these machines back. They give us, 14 days or something, 30 days at the most. They're not going to be able to take that back. And then it's like sunk cost. So it's going to be sunk cost that I can think about it. And then when I'm being able to do it, I can have virtualized servers. And have you ever heard of that, Sully, what a virtualized server is? Do you have any clue? Maybe he's not with us. What is virtualized server? Meaning,
I was looking up the answer.
oh, okay, perfect. Good.
It's
Virtual, what?
sorry,
Go
Gal,
ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No.
Google says it's a software-based virtual machine that operates on a physical server using a hypervisor, acting as independent computers with their own OS and resources.
Okay, let's put that in English. In English, it means we have a server, and let's say we're running Mac OS. Okay, Sully, we're running Mac OS, and our application needs Windows. What we could do is buy another computer, a Windows computer. But what a virtualized server means, within the physical Mac Apple computer, what we can do is basically put in Windows virtually and make it look like to the operating system that we're running a Windows machine. So that's virtualized servers. So what often occurs here is on server farms, we may say we need a Mac OS, Sully, and we may need to have a Windows machine, and we may even have to have an operating system with Linux. So what they can do is they can take one computer and what is called virtualization, and it doesn't matter that they have to use another piece of software, and it can look like to the software that this is its own computer. So in one computer, we could have 3 different operating systems or 2 different operating systems, and we could just go to that Windows virtual area, and it would be as if we were in a Windows machine. Does that make sense, Sully? So we can basically do that. And then they have what they call a server farm. And basically, Quavia, we don't want to buy all these computers here. What we can do is Amazon can have rows and rows of this all over the world. And maybe our work is stored right in here, in this rack. You see this, Raphael? Maybe this is where we're stored. And a lot of times in computing, I don't even care where it's stored. Sometimes I care where it's stored, but a lot of times, if I can do my work, let me do it. I can be particular and say, I don't care anywhere in the world that hardware can be stored. Or, Raphael, I could say, you know what? I only want it to be based in the United States, and I want it to be based in the East Coast. Or if I'm in the government, I want it to be stored in Virginia. And if Virginia has a bad storm, I want it also to be stored maybe in Texas. And I want the backup to be stored there. I can make the choice. And here you can see on this organizational server, this server farm here, you can see here that Google could have one. This is this whole cloud is like the internet. So Google can have this. Yahoo could have it. We could have then AWS here. We can have Microsoft here, anywhere in it. And then I could then just address my needs here. So what you have is they have different types of clouds. These clouds, when we use software on its own, Victoria, what software do we have? Do you have a Gmail account, Victoria?
Yeah.
I have a Gmail account. Those Gmail accounts are stored on the public cloud. Do we need a password? Yes. Are they pretty much secure? Yes. But there's something, if we were a government agency, let's say we were the Defense Department, right? And we had and we didn't want anybody to know about we're in the war in Iran now. If we didn't want our military strategies to be possibly broken into because we're afraid, there are a number of bad actors that will try to get our strategies, we could ask Amazon, give us a private cloud. Put more security even if this is 95, 98 or 99% secure, I want it to be 99.99999 secure. That's what they call a private cloud. A hybrid cloud would be a combination. Some of my information, if the Defense Department has PowerPoints, maybe they'll put it in the public cloud. So the enemy gets their PowerPoint slides. Not a big deal, but I don't want them to have my up-to-date military strategy. My hybrid cloud could be, I could combine the two, and then I could have multiple clouds. Maybe I could have multiple vendors even, vertical clouds. So in this case here, in my public clouds, my private clouds, and my hybrid clouds, then I could have you can see here, I have additional firewalls, but in this organization A, part of it's in the private cloud, part of it's in the Google public cloud. I have here, it just wants private. Here, it just wants private. Here, Amazon just has everything in the public. And then I can have different computing services. Normally, what I have is I just do cloud. I have cloud software, right? All my cloud software, anything on my phone, anything, a lot of time, if I need internet access, it's software. But here, if I am a major business and I want to grow, I can have the infrastructure. The thing about it is that is the hardware. Right, Quavia? We don't want to buy these expensive high-end machines if we're going to do like finance, and we want to do predictions of the stock market. It's going to be so data intensive that we're really going to need fast computing. I don't want to put the capital layout on it. Me and you are not into the IT business. Let Amazon, that's their business. Let them take care of it. I don't want to hire additional staff. We want to hire our marketing staff or our finance staff, right? But I don't want to do that. So that's infrastructure. Platform is basically, I have software developers that are doing something. They, instead of doing it on their machines, they can do it on Amazon's machines. Software as a service, basically, Zoom is software as a service, right? Zoom provides to enterprises, right, their software, right? We're using Zoom right now. In this case, Zoom may be using Amazon to provide that. Blackboard may be doing that. Canvas may be doing that. And then functions. So you can see here a comparison of on-premise. On-premise means on the site. So on-premise would mean the university used to take care of its own email. They had heavy-duty computers that took care of all Outlook clients, that took care of all their Outlook clients. That would be on-premise software. So they had servers. Servers are just large computers that they did virtualization. What is virtualization? That they can run a number of different operating systems on one box. And then storage, they can store it and network. But then you could then do infrastructure with Amazon. You could do the platform, right? That's for my software guys. And then software as a service, I'm going to service that if I am Workday that services or Salesforce that does K-Link, right? That they basically are taking care of that. So this is the platform as a service, so it can be geographically distributed anywhere in the world. So if I have a lot of, let's say, Indian programmers, I could even ask Amazon, put the server in India. Platform as a service then can be diverse throughout the world. And guess what? Then if we think about that, Audrey, is that there's always going to be benefits. What are the benefits? Is that basically anyone in my organization can get any hardware that they need, right? It's going to be role typed, right? They can get to the software they can need. And this really, how could it save money? I don't have to, right, Raphael? Me and you don't have to invest in the hardware. Me and you don't have to invest and say, Dr. Rush, did we update that latest software? Because I heard that there was a bug in it. And I said, Amazon will take care of that. I don't have patience for that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be supervising somebody else to do it. Let them take care of it. And then it can be more flexible. How can it be more flexible? You can even think about it. When we grow, it will grow with us. When we shrink, it will grow. If we want to be, like our busy seasons during Christmas, we do less business in January. Raphael, you say, you know what? Everybody's taking off. I'm giving all our employees off for the summer. So I said, let's then cut down. We don't need to pay for it if we're not here. Right, Raphael? We're going to cut our expenses. So that is how it is. But guess what? There's always concerns and risks. Remember? And the risk, there's risk all the time to life, but these risks is basically, where? Am I on the internet? Yes. Am I more vulnerable when I'm on the internet? Can more people come and see me on the internet? And nefarious types of things can be here. So I really have to worry about my privacy and my security. And guess what? Now, when I have all those agents, when Sully and I were talking about agents, right, doing things, I can get agents to also do criminal activities. That's what's scary, Raphael. Think about it. Blink your eyes a couple of times, and it would take us a whole day to do maybe 10 tasks. When we blink our eyes a couple of times, my agents can do that in the blink of an eye. Go out to 1,000 computers, right? Go in, delete these files. Go ahead and grab information they're not supposed to. So the criminal use not only of cloud computing, but combine that with AI, I have to be concerned. So these are basically my Amazon, my Microsoft, my Google. These are kind of the three biggest. I always say that Amazon was the first, and then I'm really surprised how Google, with YouTube, isn't really the first, right? But Amazon is more in marketing, and they thought about it more. But Google is a big player in that. And all of these computing, then they need that computing services as part of AI too. And that's when they're needing it. And the whole trend has been cloud, but now there's a little bit where people are saying, hey, I don't trust that cloud when it's starting with my own personal data that is susceptible. So there's now a wave to say there's some applications maybe I should do locally, on premise, that I have control of. And for some agents, let it just do it for me. I don't want it to be susceptible because easily it can, it's in such a beginning stage that I don't even know what it's going to be doing or who's going to get access to it. So Victoria, did that help when I kind of said, what is cloud computing?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand it better now.
You understand about it. And it's basically, you've used it your whole life, right? when are you disappointed? When the internet is down, right? I don't have Wi-Fi, right? And what does it mean? I can't have that cloud. That's all it is. The internet is cloud. But some things you want to be able to use on your own machine and say, if I'm not part of the internet, then I'm less vulnerable. Remember, we talked about risk analysis and risk management. But the problem is, if I did everything on my own, I wouldn't be able to accomplish it as well. And then I'm going to have to spend time dealing with all my personal issues, right? That we're going to have to do. So there's a trade-off in there. And sometimes, the pendulum swings one way or the other. So what I want to make sure, Anastasia, before we do even attendance, right? Is I want to make sure, well, I can stop, has everybody then put in, Anastasia, has everybody put in the owners? Are there any groups that are missing their owner?
I'll double check that now. 1 second.
Thank you so much. Any questions, comments? So Anna, what do you think? How was, did your group already assign an owner?
Yeah, I'm group 6, so Ella's our owner.
Perfect. And then has she sent out emails already?
Yeah, she did that on Monday actually, so I think we've all joined.
Perfect. So you're all joined, you're all ready to go, and it'll be great to see everybody's. And once you get like the first draft done, get it all done, get it all assigned, who's going to be doing what. And of course, we're going to be every week, we're going to try to give feedback to each other, and it'll be great.
Okay, Dr. Rush, we have quite a few groups missing that owner assignment. Do you want me to list them off?
Oh, well, let
Or do you
those
want me to just
owners
email them later?
go ahead and email, see what are the problems you can. So which group,
Okay.
who has done it? Why don't we do that? Which groups have done
That's easier to list.
Yeah.
Group 3 has done it. 3, 5, 6, and that's it.
3, 5, and 6. So my best groups, 3, 5, and 6. So the question is, who's in group 1?
Group 1 is Julia, Drew, and Jack.
Okay, are they here?
Yeah, we're here.
Okay, what's the
you were
issue, Jack?
texting. We're gonna do it right after class.
Okay, well, why don't we, do you know, Jack, who's gonna do it? Who's
Uh,
gonna be the owner?
either me or Julia.
Okay, so decide right now.
Okay. All right.
Text each other
my-
right now, okay? And do it, okay? And group 4 is who?
We also have group 2 that hasn't done it.
And 2? And who's in 2?
Julie, Lindsay, Holly, and Andrea. Or Andrea.
Okay. And are they here? Who's from group 2 here? No one?
I guess not.
all
No, we have it. We're just like, we already got the invitations and stuff. We just have to
okay.
accept it.
Okay, so who started it?
I think it was Andrea.
Andrea, have you done it? And she sent out an email to you?
Yes, she did. She did.
Okay, so is Andrea here?
Not sure.
You're not sure. Well, we gotta check.
She is not.
Okay, so can you be so kind and put owner next to her name? And you guys gotta meet. So one of these things is you'll be graded on your assignment for Monday. And then groups will be presenting, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so let's do attendance.
All right.
Anastasia.
1 second. The code is 8211. I'm putting it in the chat now.
Perfect. And stay with me if you have questions, if you have questions about your group, if you have questions about couldn't figure it out. And we'll see each other on Monday. So Nicholas and Robert, what's up? Let me me stop recording. I'll go stop.
Okay, I think